Hello, this is Alison, and today's video topic is how to prepare for an ayahuasca ceremony or an ayahuasca retreat. So if you're looking at going to take ayahuasca, whether it's in the jungle or if it's going to be in your local city, there's a few things that you need to know and need to do beforehand to make sure you have an awesome ceremony, because ultimately that's what we all want, right? So some of these things that I'm going to be talking about are the things that have helped me. I went to the Amazon last year. I'm going back to the Amazon again this year. So yeah, these are the things that are really going to help you have an awesome time. So the first topic that we're going to be discussing is your diet, is the food. Now, there's a lot of conflicting information out there. The best advice I could give you is look on the website of the event or the retreat that you're going to, because sometimes it's quite different. If you're going into a dieta, you're going to be sitting in isolation with the plant medicine and a very stripped back diet, so you don't really need to worry too much about your diet before you go into the jungle. However, if you're going to be doing ayahuasca ceremonies in your city, or if you're going to more of an ayahuasca tourist retreat, then the guidelines for the food are a little bit more strict leading up to. So one thing they all have in common is they ask you to remove processed foods from your diet. That's anything that comes from a packet, anything that has an ingredients list, things like sugar, table salt, and stuff that's just not very good for you. I know we all like to eat it. One thing I would recommend is lots of organic chicken, wild caught fish, organic fruits and veggies. Some places will ask you to remove beef and red meat from your diet. Other places will ask you to remove pork. In fact, most places will ask you to remove pork. Some places will ask you to remove salt and spices from your diet and eat a very bland diet leading up to the ceremony. I don't think it matters too much, but I think at least a week leading up to your ceremony, you should make sure you haven't had any spices, any sugar, any table salt. But for me, this time I'm going to do a dieta, so I'm just going to remove what little sugar that I actually eat from my diet and cut back on the red meat a little bit, so I'm feeling really kind of, I suppose, clean before I go into the jungle. The reason the diet is essential while you're in the jungle is because you need to have a minimalistic diet to allow the plants the space to go into your cells and to do its work. So food is really, really important. The second thing is your energy. So when I talk about your energy, I mean preserve your own energy as much as possible. So try and get away from negative people and negative situations. If you can't get away from them, try to minimize contact as much as possible. I'd strongly recommend turning off the news, stop reading glamour magazines and fashion magazines, try and minimize your time spent on social media, watching TV, and just kind of engaging in small talk, purely because you're going to be going to do something that's quite special to you, and it's a journey that's all about you. So try and limit the energy that you're exchanging with others as much as possible. I'm going to be getting my digital detox next week, so I'm going to pretty much cut back all social media, all contact on Messenger, and just really learn to be with myself, because the time spent in the jungle is really the time about you. Even if you're just going to your local city, you know, you've got a few hours with the ayahuasca, and it's going to show you where you need to move forward in your life. That brings me on to my next point. So we're talking about energy. A lot of places will say to you, avoid sexual contact with other people. I'd say at least 3 days before you go into the jungle or to do your ceremony. So minimize sexual contact with other people, because you want to keep your own energy and your own space. When you engage in sexual activity with other people, you take on their energy, you take on their negatives, you take on the energy of their partners and their partners and their partners. So Number one, everything can get quite muddled up, and number two, ayahuasca is a very jealous entity and doesn't like to share with other people. So you might find that you have a real tough time if you don't separate yourself from sexual contact with other people. That's quite important. The next step I would really recommend is really learn some meditation. Learn to do some form of meditation, because you're going to be spending a long time on your own with your thoughts. And if you're one of these people that always has to be occupied, whether you have children, whether you go out with your friends, whether you talk on the phone all the time, or use your time free time on social media, you're going to really struggle, because it's just going to be you and the sound of the bugs if you're going to the jungle. So it's just going to be you on your own, working on yourself. And unless you are able to really sit with yourself and listen, you may find it quite difficult. So I just recommend starting with maybe 5 minutes of meditation per day, then leading up to 10 minutes of meditation per day, and then 15 and 20. Another brilliant thing, if you can, is spend as much time as you can in nature. So last year, before I went to the jungle, I would spend pretty much every waking moment of the day that I had spare in the local woods. So I'd sit there, I'd journal all of my worries and my expectations, and I'd just sit in nature just so I got ready and prepared for that total immersion into the jungle. So meditation is key. The next thing I would recommend is, well, they ask you as well, is to not smoke any marijuana again for at least 3 days before you go into the jungle or to do your retreat, because you will get a massive clash between the energy vibrations of the two plants. Don't forget that each plant has its own specific vibrational frequency, and the ayahuasca is a very high vibration, whereas the marijuana is much more slow, it's much more relaxing, it's much more calm. So you will get like a conflict, and that will create friction. So my poor friend didn't actually realize that, and I think he said he smoked marijuana the day before doing ayahuasca, and he got really sick. So that's not advisable. So some of the things you should do, so meditation is great. Also, make sure you take a journal with you, because you're going to get some wonderful insights, some amazing clarity, and some amazing ideas. I mean, I pretty much had the idea for my business last year when I was in the jungle. I learned so much stuff about myself which I needed to overcome, and unless I had written all of that down, then I wouldn't have remembered and it wouldn't have helped me. So what I actually did was record my voice during the after the ceremony when I got back to my house, and then the next morning I would write it all up. And then it's great because you can look back and you can see just how far you've come. Another thing is, do set an intention. So why are you going to do the ayahuasca? What do you want to gain? What do you want to let go of? Just have some kind of an idea of what you want to do. Although the ayahuasca has other ideas, and what you actually want may not actually be what you need. So you will get what you need, but it will help you in some ways, having a focus and having intentions. So that's my tips and my advice. I hope that's helped you. If anybody else has got any tips that they would like to share, anything that they would like to add, I'd be really happy to help to hear it, because I'm preparing for my own journey into the jungle. So yeah, it'd be really great to hear from you. I'm also going to be documenting some of my ayahuasca jungle journey with you. So if you like this video and you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, and thank you very much for watching.